Hey there, I don't know how well you guys can see me anymore. It's been a little while. The sun's got down, the lighting's not so good, but here's the completed look. Got some bright red going on. It's kind of my take on a fire eye, but a little bit more wearable for every day or evening since I've got so much eyeliner on now. But anyway, there it is, and I hope you enjoy the video. So I'm starting by priming my eye with MAC paint in bare canvas and taking my, I can barely read that anymore, 252 brush. Just got it on the end there. I'm going to go over my entire lid. And it doesn't matter if this is too smooth right now because this is just a primer and we're going to be putting our eyeshadow over it. It's just there to help the eyeshadow not crease and to help it stay on throughout the day. So then, starting out with Goldmine, I'm going to be putting that from the inner corner of my eye to about halfway. And I'm using an all-over shader brush for that. Just kind of stippling it on, trying to get as much color as possible here. Also staying under that crease. Okay, then I'm going to take Coppering. And I've got this nice big flat packed brush that's not a MAC brush, but you could also use the 252 for this. I'm going to go ahead and get a bunch of color on there. Then I'm going to go from the first third of my eye, like right here between the half point and the corner, and go almost out to the corner of my eye. But as you see, I don't need to go all the way because I've got brown shaded up in the corner over here, and we don't want too much color going on because then it's just going to get harder to blend. And again, you're staying under the crease. If you're having problems finding where your crease is, tilt your head back and look down, and you'll see the orbit of the eyeball, like where the bone and the eyeball actually meet and where the socket is. So even if it's not super defined on you, you can still tell about where it's supposed to be. Then I'm going to take a big fluffy blending brush. You could use, I believe it's the MAC 214 for this. Just any big fluffy loosely packed easy brush, blender brush. I'm just going to go and smudge those two colors together so that there's no obvious line and it looks like it just fades from yellow into a nice coppery color. So you get a little bit of orange right in between the two colors. Then if you feel like you kind of lost some of your gold, go back and add a little bit more. It's all about layering and blending and just getting the right mix for you. So then I'm going to take a pointier fluffy brush for the crease. A lot of people use, I also think it's the 214 again. You know what, I'm going to go check. It's the 224. So a lot of people use this brush for their crease, but I use it for my under eye concealer, so it's kind of gunky right now. And I really, I just don't find it precise enough for doing my crease. Maybe that's because mine is so ill-defined, but this brush, as you can tell, is still big and fluffy and loose, but it comes to a little point here. So if I just want to go in and make a really precise line towards my lash line, this is the brush that I go to. So I'm going to be using Texture, just kind of like a light golden shimmery brown color. Not too much on my brush. I'm going to go in, and you want to start where you want the color to be darkest because the first place you put your brush is going to be where the most color is deposited. So I'm going to start that right in my lash line and up in the corner. And I'm going to blend this right into the coppering. Kind of down towards the middle of my lash. I'm going to take a little bit more. And then I'm going to go into the crease and blend up above the line where the color ends. So you get a little bit of a softer effect going on. Because with such loud colors, you want to still be able to pull it off. And this is the classic blending with the windshield wiper motions, just going over and over again. And make sure to keep a really soft hand, because if you're driving the brush into your skin, you're just going to get a lot of color that's really packed on there and it's difficult to move around. And at this point I always feel like I've lost too much of the coppering, so I'm just going to take the same brush, dip it back in, add a little bit more of the red. Just kind of bring the volume of color up. I'm going to go back in with my denser packed brush. The denser packed the bristles on your brush, the more color it's going to deposit. Remember that. So if you want like a really light wash, go for something big and fluffy like your blender brush. When I'm doing these bold looks, I like to take my crease color all the way down into this corner down here, so that you just get a nice overall effect. And don't be afraid to like get it all over up in here. You can go back with a Q-tip after you're done and make that the exact shape that you want it to be. So now that I've got the crease all blended out, I'm going to go in with Foley, which is a slightly darker matte brown color. You could also still use a shimmery one for this. The coppering is super metallic. I don't know if you guys can tell. The gold mine is pretty metallic and also shimmery, and then the texture has a lot of glitter in it, this one. But the Foley is very, very matte and very dark, but it goes on with a nice wash of color. It's not too overpowering and grabby. I'm going to take that and I'm just going to go in the outer V and kind of blend it up into the crease, just to kind of add a little bit of depth in the corner. And then I'm going to take my big blending brush and I'm just going to go and I'm going to circle that all together. Do nice little soft circles. And I think I've got a little bit more gold on this side than this side. So I'm going to go back in with my gold mine. Again with the shader brush. Just pushing those colors together. Okay, then I'm going to wipe off my all over shadow brush. I'm going to take Vanilla, which is mostly matte with a little bit of sparkle, very similar to texture. So I'm taking that, I'm just going to go up in the brow bone, down around, kind of pushing this exactly to the edge of the color and maybe a little bit down onto it as well. Then I'm going to take blending brush and just go right over that line and blend the color with the highlight. Kind of blending the color up and the highlight in and down. This also helps to really soften the color when you're doing something this bold. Basically with this bold of a color, like, you want to just get it as soft as you possibly can, because otherwise it's going to be like, hey, a drag queen did my makeup. So mainly what you want when you're going for a crazy eyeshadow is that if you're going to do a bunch of really shimmery stuff and really metallic and bold stuff on your lid, for your highlight you want something that's going to be more matte, because otherwise you're going to go for the disco ball effect. And nobody wants to look like a disco ball.